Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the chilly Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be how your empathy was weaponized against you. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. Pay it forward. I'll jump right in. So empathy, you possess it, I'm certain, because you're on the channel. Perhaps you possess a large amount of empathy. Perhaps you just figured out what an empath is right now. Point being is your empathy, or in other words, the ability for you to place yourself in another individual's shoes, was weaponized against you in the narcissistic relationship. Everything that makes you you, everything that you have worked for, everything that you had done to make the proper decisions in life was determined by the narcissist to be weaponized against you. In other words, they figured out quickly that you were an empath, or you could place yourself in another individual's shoes, or certainly you would be giving to a fault. Maybe even a people pleaser, maybe a yes person, maybe you did not have boundaries, maybe you had boundaries and they got decimated. All of these things and more are what the narcissist saw in you. And they saw if you were an empath, believe me when I tell you, they were licking their chops, because what they were doing is saying, this individual, which was you, this person does not want to quit. They do not want to give up. They have values. They have beliefs. They have standards. They know exactly that at their core, they can't stop. If they start something, they're going to see it through, and they're going to do the best they possibly can. Now, when the narcissist deduced this, when they figured it out, they're like, oh my goodness, wow, I can really do a number on this one, which was you, that person. And what they wanted to do was to make sure, first of all, that they ensnared you in the web of manipulation, that you fell in love with them, or that you loaned them money, or that you moved in with them, or that you started a family with them, or that you signed a business contract with them, etc. All the things I mentioned on the channel. They wanted to become attached to you in some capacity. Now remember, the narcissist cannot love, and they do not possess empathy. But what they do possess is a cutting edge skill to fly under the radar many times and to take what is yours from you. In other words, the narcissistic relationship, many times, it's an insidious, slow drip. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. And in the beginning of the relationship, first of all, you did not know what narcissism was because you weren't taught this in school. But second of all, like I mentioned, you probably were or are an empath, and you wanted to, let's say, fall in love with the individual, or do the best, or you wanted the best for another individual. Let's put it that way. When you did that, the narcissist tested you, and they saw exactly what buttons they could push to get what they wanted from you. And then slowly, once they figured out, okay, once you professed the three magic words, I love you, or let's start a family, or let's go into business, whatever these words were, that's when the narcissist knew that their heavy lifting, the hard work that they had to put into you, was accomplished. It was now game on. In other words, they did not have to fake love you anymore. That's why the love bomb ends. If you want the truth, the love bomb stage, i.e. the euphoric stage, whatever you want to call it, that thing ends as soon as the narcissist knows that they have you trapped. Really get the message. It's when all of their hard work in the beginning of the relationship, all the fakeness, all of the fake adoration, the fake empathy, the fake love, the fake caring, all of that finally culminates in you professing that you love them. That's when things shift on a dime. Many times, I mentioned this frequently on the channel recently, if any of you were married to the narcissist or a toxic individual, I can assure you, the minute that wedding ring was slipped on your finger or theirs or both, or the next day or shortly after the wedding ceremony was over, I can assure you that's when the game switched. And remember, this isn't a game. It wasn't a game for you, but to the narcissist, every relationship is not only an opportunity, it's a game. It's a zero-sum game. They want to take everything they possibly can from you. But why your empathy was weaponized against you, again, keep this in mind. The narcissist deduced quickly who you were. They sized you up. They probably went to some dinners or lunches with you, or attended events, or tested you in other capacities, and you were passing with flying colors. And lo and behold, they said, okay, this one is really good. Person was you, by the way. Then they showered you with the love bomb stage, or fake adoration, euphoric stage, whatever you want to call it. When that happened, you put your guard down. You're like, oh my gosh, I actually found somebody that completes me. I found my soulmate. I found the yin to my yang. Where has this person been my whole life, etc. And they are pumping you up with all of the fakeness. This is why so frequently these narcissistic relationships, they move at light speed. They move quicker than the speed of sound, because the narcissist does not want to give you a second to come up for air, to catch your breath. They will take you all over the globe in whirlwind situations or environments, fancy dinners, restaurants. They will smother you with emojis and calling you, texting you, wanting to be around you. And this will last for a period of time. Many times it's a few weeks, up to a couple months. I've heard up to a couple years. But the point being, when that happens, that is what now drops you in a place called the trauma bond. You are now locked and loaded, and they know that. You did not know it because, again, you weren't taught Narcissism 101 in school. You're getting the wisdom on my channel. Having said that, when they placed you there, that's when the devaluation really kicked in. And remember that the devaluation stage is the longest part of the narcissistic relationship. It's the body of the relationship. That's when the slow drip of all of the toxicity is coming into you, meaning gaslighting, the smear campaign, the silent treatment, ghosting, invalidating, devaluing you. You're experiencing rage fits, blame shifting, word salad, etc. All the things I mentioned. When this was happening, this is when your spider senses were tingling. You're like, something's wrong here. This person just a few weeks ago professed that they loved me. We got married and everything was going great, and something changed. What changed? I'll tell you what changed. What changed is the narcissist began to slip the mask off of their face. They began to pry the super glue away from their ears, nose, mouth, and eyebrows. And what they did there is they now knew they had you entrenched in a place that was foreign to you, but yet very familiar to them, which is called the narcissistic fog. That's where the devaluation happened. Now, having said all these things, you were working for the narcissist, and your empathy played a big part, because now, let's say you did get married as an example. Well, you walked down the aisle and you had alleged family members and or friends attend the ceremony perhaps, and who is going to get divorced a day, a week, or a month after they get married? Not many people. Not many people on this planet would do that. Point being, you were one of those people if you did get married. And the narcissist was slowly making you work for them. They were beginning to take your money, more of your time. They were beginning to ghost you. They were beginning to not be around you nearly as much. And I will tell you why that happens. The reason it happens is because they already achieved their goal with you. They got you where they wanted to place you, which is an energetic switch. They wanted you in the darkness, and they wanted to capture and steal your beautiful, bright, shining light. And when that wedding ring, as an example, was placed on your finger, or vice versa, that's exactly where they placed you. And they knew it. And they were loving the fact that every time you would explain yourself to them, or every time they would make you late, or every time they would have a intentional argument before you would attend an event, that you continued to work for the relationship, because you were believing the relationship would change. You would get back to that euphoric stage, to the happiness stage. The truth of the matter is that euphoric/happiness stage, it was nothing but a charade. It was a mirage in the middle of a desert. Did it happen? Absolutely. Were you a part of it? Yes. But this, again, was a part of an opportunity that the narcissist saw in you, and they were weaponizing your empathy against you. This is why the educated empath is a person that is untouchable. An educated empath, and I created that video a few months ago, you should check it out, is an individual who is an empath, and now they've gone through the narcissistic abusive cycle, and they've healed properly, and they know their boundaries now, and they know what they will or won't tolerate. This individual is a rare breed. We are diamonds in the rough. When I say that, I do mean that from the bottom of my heart, because before you experience the narcissistic abusive cycle, if you are or were an empath, the point being there is you thought everybody else on the planet was like you. That is exactly why from your childhood, throughout high school, college, etc., you were always giving to a fault, but yet you seem to attract these toxic individuals who would glom onto you for a period of time, and then they would show their game face, because everybody reveals themselves over time, and then that friendship would dissipate, or the romantic relationship would dissipate, whatever it would be. But then lo and behold, you met the narcissist, and they were waiting to meet somebody just like you, an uneducated empath. Again, this was a huge coup for the narcissist. So they made sure that you stuck around as long as you possibly could. They made sure you loaned them money, you created a family, you married them, you bought a house, you started a business, whatever you did. They wanted to latch onto your beautiful, bright, shining star. And what they did with that is they began to devalue you. Now, having said that, when the relationship ended, however it ended, if you were discarded or if you ended it yourself. Either way, my heart goes out to you. But the point being, you had to figure out a few things. One, what was that relationship? What kind of behavior was that? And you did not know. Then, second of all, you had a lot of healing to go through. Healing that you did not ever even believe that a human being should have to go through, because there was a huge void in you post-relationship. Again, I created that video a year or so ago. Check it out, the void post-narcissistic relationship. Having said that, then you were searching for strange behaviors, and perhaps you typed in something on YouTube or Google, like spouse won't talk to me, or what is this, or whatever behavior you typed in, and boom, your first light bulb moment happens. You land on my channel. Then you realize you are not alone, and you realize that there are millions of us out there, and that there is a whole community of people that have gone through this. Now, remember what I shared with you earlier about your empathy and how it was weaponized against you. It was. Second of all, when you figured out what narcissism was, and perhaps you experienced a toxic or toxic relationships, i.e. with a narcissist or cysts, point being, that's when you have to heal. That's when you have to take time alone and self-isolate, not being isolated like the narcissist wanted you to be. You were self-isolated. Now you were in the cocoon of boundaries. Another video I created. Point being, all of these things you had to do, then through much time, let's put it that way, after the mountain of work you placed into yourself, or the mountain of work you are placing into yourself, eventually one day you woke up and you felt liberated, you felt free, you felt healed. Yes, you did. And when you did that, that is when you now entered the third version of you, the galvanized version of you, the strongest version of you possible that you never thought even existed. This is where you have reached the pinnacle, the mountaintop of indifference. This is where you are the educated empath. Now notice, I dropped 3 videos in there that I created in the past. Please check these out. There is a reason why I am sharing these videos that I created in the past, because this is a learning process. Each and every day I create a video live with no script, and I let you know exactly what's going on in my mindset. If you really want to see an individual who was broken, not in a good space, and challenged to their core, tested to their core, go back to the very first video I ever created on March 31st, 2021, called Glad You Made It. You will see a completely different individual than the individual you're looking at right now. All of these things I'm sharing with you, they culminate in one thing. The narcissist weaponized your empathy against you. They knew you didn't want to quit. They knew you wouldn't quit. They knew you would give to a fault. They knew they placed you in the trauma bond. They knew that they could manipulate you. They knew that you would give, and give, even until the point of perhaps not even being on the planet, if you get my point. That's what you did. That's what I did. And these things, every experience you went through, including the narcissistic relationship, it brought you to a point in time right here, right now with me. Keep in mind, there is no such thing as a coincidence on this planet. You may think that there is no such thing. The power of the mind is amazing, and the power of your words are precious. Now, the narcissist knew both of these things, and throw in empathy, something the narcissist does not possess. They wanted to steal that from you. And again, they succeeded for a period of time, which was the length of the relationship. They virtually stole everything from you. Yes, they did. And I'll tell you why. Because when you entered that relationship with them, they did not give you a 2-page report telling you what they were and what they would do to you. You entered that relationship under false pretenses, believing that they actually loved you and cared about you. They don't love anybody. They don't care about anybody. Only themselves. That's it. That is exactly why when the relationship ends, usually it ends with a thud, a crash, a bang, and the narcissist disappears. They will not give you closure. They will not be accountable. They will not introspect. They will not take blame for anything in the relationship because why? Because first of all, they have your replacement lined up and they can't wait to wear a new mask and go on a new adventure with that person. Second of all, they love your misery and your pain. They want you stewing in your misery and your pain. They never, ever in 1,000 years want you to figure out what has just happened to you, or in fact that they are a toxic narcissistic individual. They never thought you would figure it out. Believe me when I tell you they didn't. And to prove that point, before I get ready to close the video, think about this. There are a few options post-narcissistic relationship that individuals have. One is they have the craving to get the knowledge and the wisdom, even when they don't know what they're looking for. They are resilient, and I am one of those individuals, and so are you. So you looked down the rabbit hole, you kept on trying to figure out what kind of relationship you were a part of and why your empathy was weaponized against you, and then you found my channel. Boom, narcissism, there you go. That's one individual. Another individual who doesn't have the craving for the knowledge. They just believe that was a not good relationship, and they become a shell of themselves. The third ending or outcome would be an individual who gets the wisdom and doesn't apply it. That is not a good space to be in. If you have the keys to the kingdom or the keys to the castle and you do not utilize them, what are you waiting for? Take action. If not now, when? And the other option is this individual stays trapped in the zombie-like, trance-like state. They can't break free from the narcissist. They don't believe there's anything better out there, and they are so beaten down and they are so trained and groomed that they believe that today will just be the exact same day as tomorrow, and they will tolerate the poor behavior. All of these illustrations, one of those is who you are. I will tell you right now, my hope is that you are the individual who is getting the wisdom. You're craving the knowledge and you are applying it. You're utilizing the tools that I provide on the channel to insulate and protect yourself, and you're now implementing boundaries. Having said all of these things, your empathy was weaponized against you. It 100% was, because in the very beginning of the relationship and all throughout it, including post-relationship, you continued to work. You continue to do the right thing. You continue to take the high road. You continue to want answers. You continue to fight for the relationship and to work as hard as you could, when in fact the other individual or the narcissist was trying to puncture holes in the boat that the two of you were floating in. They did not want that boat to remain afloat. What they wanted to do was to capsize that boat and have you go down with it while they jumped onto another unsuspecting boat, which is the new supply, and on and on and on. And that's what these creatures do. They have no remorse. They can't introspect, and they don't care about anybody but themselves. So understanding your empathy was weaponized against you, I can assure you it was. You need to check out the video I created, The Educated Empath. If you are in fact an empath, please have boundaries. Don't be a people pleaser. Don't be a yes person. Understand that if this happened to you once and you don't change your behavior and you don't change your insulation techniques, meaning who you surround yourself with, then you're susceptible to falling into another relationship like this. And again, if you're not an empath, it's fine. We're all human beings. We all have abilities. We all have talents and skills. Many of us don't find these till later in life. Some people never find them. The point being, if you're an empath, God bless you. If you're not, don't take it personal. It's fine. You're still a human being. As long as you are not a narcissist, you are always welcome on the channel. So guys, God bless you. I love you all. I hope you liked the video. I loved doing it from the very cold Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. Remember that. You are not alone. Continue to become awakened and aware, educated and empowered. Understand that you are the priority. You come first, second, and third, and that this is your time. It is cold, so I'm going to end this one. And guys, I love you all. God bless you. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. It's really cold, and I will talk to you tomorrow. All right. Bye, you guys.